Welcome back to the channel. This is Gillis TV here on Clemox today, folks, and we got another signing here in the MLB. But before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button as we are working our way up to 5,000 subscribers. And if you don't already know, we do MLB and NASCAR, everything MLB, live streams, trades, signings, rumors, news, someone gets injured. We are on top of that. And if you're into that kind of stuff when it comes to hockey, the NHL, go over to Gillis TV there. We got that covered over there. Now, the Cleveland Guardians have agreed to a 2-year, $33 million contract with free agent first baseman Josh Bell, reports John Heyman of the New York Post. Bell, a client of Boras Corporation, will be able to opt out of his contract after the first season of the deal. In a short but luxurious annual deal for the 30-year-old Bell, who looked poised for a long-term commitment in free agency before a sluggish finish to the season following a trade to the Padres, the veteran switch hitter opened the season on a tear with the Nationals and maintained that production into late July. But after slashing a 301 average with the Nats, Bell hit just a .92 with the San Diego Padres. Ups and downs are nothing new for Bell, who at multiple points in his career has appeared on the cusp of solidifying himself as a star-caliber slugger, only to fall into a prolonged slump. Back in the first half of the 2019 season, for instance, the former number 61st overall pick erupted with a 302 average and 27 home runs. That netted him what remains as the only All-Star nomination of his career, but following the Midsummer Classic, Bell backtracked with a solid, unspectacular 233 average. His offensive doldrums spiraled out of control in 2020 when he turned in a career-worst 226 average, slashing in the shortened 2020 season. Following that disappointing campaign, the Pirates sold low on the former top prospect by flipping his final 2 years of club control to the Nationals in exchange for righty Will Crowe and minor leaguer Eddie Yean. A month into Bell's Nationals tenure, it looked to be more of the same, but he righted the ship in May. From May 1st, 2021 through this year's trade deadline, Bell came to the plate 945 times and recorded a 289 average with 39 big flies, 46 doubles, and a 11.5 walk percentage rate and a 15.3% strikeout rate. That's far lower than many would expect from a 6'4", 255-pound first baseman with 30 home run power. In spite of that sizable frame and the clear raw power Bell possesses, however, he's not really been a consistent power threat, at least not to the extent one would expect. The juiced ball season in 2019 was his lone 30 home run campaign, 37 to be exact, and his season-to-season home run totals have otherwise ranged between 12 and 27 throughout that span. It's hard not to wonder what might happen were Bell to commit to elevating the ball more, but the easier said than done for any hitter. Bell's enormous 49.9 ground ball rate is far higher than one would expect for a slugger of his stature, and he's taken that mark north of 50% in each of the past 3 seasons, topping out with a mammoth 55.7% grounder rate in 2022. Since 2020, only 5 hitters in baseball have put the ball on the ground more frequently than Bell, a confounding trait for a switch hitter with plus raw power. 3 different teams have been unable to coax consistent power production from Bell, but the Guardians will give it their best effort to unlock his maximum potential. To be clear, Bell remains a well above average hitter in the aggregate, even with the glut of grounders and career punctuation thus far, by peaks and valleys. Dating back to 2019, he's been a 20% better hitter than the average hitter by measured of WRC+, and his career mark in the regard sits at 116, 16% better than average. Bell is a lifetime 262 hitter who's only below average season at the plate in the shortened 2020 season. Also appealing to the Guardians was surely the fact that Bell, like so much of their team, is exceedingly difficult to strike out. No team in baseball fanned at a lower clip than the Guardians' 18.2% last year, nor was anyone particularly close. Bell, who struck out at just a 15.8% rate in 2022, should fit right in. He kept his strikeout rate at 90% or lower each season, otherwise the grimacing campaign of 2020. He also drawn walks in an excellent 11.8% of his 3,406 career plate appearances. All of that aligns with the Cleveland Generals' offensive philosophy, and while it seems that Jose Abreu was the Guardians' first choice, Cleveland reportedly made him a 3-year offer before he signed in Houston. Bell still adds some much-needed thump who can join Josh Naylor in splitting time at DH and first base. Bell isn't an all-world defender at first, but he's improved his defensive ratings from subpar to slightly above average in recent seasons. The Guardians surely feel confident that he's a reliable source of at least 15 to 20 homers with a robust on-base percentage. He'll join Jose Ramirez as a switch-hitting middle of the order threat, continuing to give Cleveland's lineup plenty of balance. If things go accordingly to plan and Bell can ward off any prolonged slump to close out the season, he'll be a strong candidate to exercise the opt-out provision and return to the open market a year from now. As previously laid out, the overall offensive track record of Bell is quite strong. Had he not fallen into that San Diego swoon, he and Boras might have had a case for a contract upwards to 5 years in length. Depending on the extent of Bell's success, the Guardians could even issue him a qualifying offer upon opting out. We predicted that Bell's would still be able to command a 4-year deal around this AV on top of 50 free agent rankings. But the 2-year term and opt-out provides some of the best of both worlds. If Bell performs well, he can collect a hearty salary in 2022 or 2023, and try again for a lengthier deal a year from now. If not, he'll at least have a second season around going rate for a bat first slugger of his nature, and even if he forgoes the opt out next season, a strong 2024 showing could position him for a multi year deal. From a payroll vantage point, Cleveland has ample room to plug him into the mix. History of low payrolls notwithstanding, Bell assuming an even distribution of his $33 million guaranteed pushes the Guardians just to $35.3 million in guaranteed salary cap next season. Add in another $35.7 in projected salaries for arbitrational players, tip the cap to MLBTR's contributor Matt Schwartz, and slate of pre-arbitration players to round out the roster, and the Guardians will sit around $87 million mark next season, at least as things currently stand. The Guardians opened the 2021 season with just $49.6 million and were at $68.2 million to begin the 2022 campaign, but they won the AL Central in 2022 and only 5 years removed from trouting out an opening day payroll of nearly $135 million. At least on paper, there should be room to make further additions through that. Depends on ownership's willingness to pay to further ramp up payroll as they look to repeat in a weak division. So Josh Bell can play him and Naylor can do a lot of things for the Cleveland Guardians. Like it said, in 552 at-bats this season, he averaged 266 with 17 home runs, 71 RBIs, no stolen bases. He's not a stolen base kind of threat, but he can hit the home run, as in 2,950 at-bats. He has average of 262, 130 home runs, 468 RBIs. One of those guys that can just go out, get the runners over, has the power from both sides of the plate, And that's scary to think. If it goes Ramirez him, that's two switch hitters. You got a game plan for who's before, try and get the guy out before, maybe walk one of them, and so on and so forth. So this is a huge signing by the Cleveland Guardians. As let me know in the comments what you think. But that is it for me. My throat is starting to kill. This has been Gillis TV here on Clemox, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure to hit it. We are on our way to 5,000. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great night.